How many people can look into a mirror and say, I changed the world? Wilbur and Orville Wright did that in 1903 with man's first controlled, powered flight. 59 seconds that changed the world. They were first, but as always, other curious, inventive minds were already standing on the Wrights' shoulders to create the next steps in flight. They were Europeans, many of them, and within a decade of the Kitty Hawk event, French, German, and other designer engineers on the continent were leading the way in new aviation technology and research. Well, officials in Washington were paying attention, and they realized they could not let the Europeans vault past American efforts in aviation. So they formed a new organization, NACA, the National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics. It oversaw coordinated efforts to make sure the U.S. led the way in aviation technology. And for more than 40 years, NACA did just that, guiding research from World War I right up to the supersonic age.
Prime, igniter ready light, pre-cool on, igniter idle. 20 seconds to launch. Everything checks here.
Your position is good, Joe.
Pump idle. Good pump, good igniter. Ready to launch now.
Because the airplane exceeded the design limits, both speed and in altitude, the airplane was flown to an altitude where it was felt it was not effective to go any higher with the X-15. The risk increased much more than what the benefits gained were going to be, and the lesson was learned. As far as speed was concerned, there was an attempt to go much faster with the X-15 than its design limit of Mach 6, and that was to add additional propellant in the form of external tanks that would be dropped off. And the purpose was to get the airplane out to a speed of about Mach 8. Turned out that really, with some things, very painful lessons learned, that the overlaying shock waves just increased the heating even that much more at those hypersonic speeds. And at about 6.7, the shock wave from this little dummy scramjet engine impinged on the lower ventral and literally burned it off. And it was determined that that was enough. Even trying to protect the X-15 with ablative coating didn't help.
On October 4, 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik. They called it the first man-made satellite. It was about the size of a big beach ball, and orbiting the Earth, all it did was beep. And that beep told the world we, the Soviet Union, beat the United States into space. Almost instantly, NACA became NASA, NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. The space race, it was called, was on. The next decade would decide which nation would win that race. Our two guests have spent their adult lives in aviation, research, and exploring space.